Happy Halloween, guys. I hope you had a really good October. I hope you had a fun Halloween. If you did parties, or if you went trick-or-treating, or did anything like that, I hope it was a blast. I had a great time talking about tons of movies, but as I have done for the past now 4 years in a row, I reviewed one of the Halloween films on October 31st, and this year we're talking about Halloween 4. The Return of Michael Myers. The last film ditched the Michael Myers storyline. They actually had the guts to say, we're done with that. I didn't love that movie, but I always respected that they tried to do their own thing. But the public didn't really like that. They viewed Halloween as synonymous with Michael Myers. And let's be honest, I think all of us kind of do. So they decided to bring him back for a fourth film that came out in 1988. It was directed by Dwight Little. At the time, his previous credits included... those movies. But besides Michael Myers coming back, another big draw for fans was the return of Donald Pleasence as Dr. Loomis, having survived the fire of Halloween 2, but not without some scarring. He has burn marks on his face, supposedly from the fire at the hospital at the end of Halloween 2, and those burn marks have some iffy continuity issues. Early in the film, his face looks kind of melted and bumpy, but later on it's a lot smoother. This could be because the film did undergo some reshoots, which we'll talk about later, but first, the plot of Halloween 4. 10 years after the original Halloween massacre, Michael Myers is now an invalid. He's wrapped in bandages, he doesn't move. The assumption is that he survived this Halloween fire somehow. And of course, Michael Myers wakes up and kills some people. And Loomis is convinced that Myers is on his way to Haddonfield once more, this time to kill his 7-year-old niece. For fans of the franchise, Halloween 4 is definitely one of the more liked sequels. It's certainly better than some of the ones that followed it, and I can understand how the film has developed a cult following over the years, similar to how Season of the Witch has. Dwight Little didn't try to recreate Carpenter's direction, he attempted to make his own film, and the risk of having so much of your runtime be dedicated to a young girl paid off fairly well. Danielle Harris is not bad in the movie at all, especially for a young child performance. And it seems like they couldn't really figure out what else to do with Loomis as a character, but try to convince people that Michael Myers is coming and he's going to fucking kill everybody. Even though he's already tried to do that a lot, it seems like he's still having a hard time getting people to believe him. But this does lead to what's probably my favorite scene in the movie, this really creepy interchange between him and Myers at this gas station diner. The camera work in that scene is really great. This film changed a few things in the formula. For one, it has an opening credits sequence that doesn't involve a pumpkin slowly revealing itself. And this is also one of the first times they take the Michael Myers character and do some fantastical stuff with him. Early on in the film, young Jamie is having visions of him in her nightmares, and what the fuck is that? I'm not sure why it's so hard for the makers of the Halloween sequels after 2 to figure out how to make Michael Myers' mask look good. It's gotta be the cheapest movie prop of all time. It's just a William Shatner mask spray painted white. From what I understand, the second film reused the one from the first, but then it was later lost, and so they had to replace it. I also understand that one of the defenses for why the mask looks so different is that he just steals it from a Halloween store. And so it's supposed to be like a kid's prop. But that's what he does in the first film. It's the same thing, so there's no reason that they couldn't have at least made it look the same. Because it doesn't look scary, it looks so clean. The film's cinematography also takes a noticeable dip in quality this time around. It's no longer shot in 235. It's no longer shot by the great Dean Cundey. It's shot in 185, and it just doesn't feel like a Halloween movie. The director seemed adverse to wide shots for some reason. So much of this movie feels very tight. Whereas the previous Halloween films, even the third one, had a beautiful wide look to them that just felt all-encompassing. It made the movies feel more expensive and bigger than they really were. All that fanboy griping aside, this movie is certainly watchable, and it is one of the better Halloween sequels, although the movie gets a lot of, I think, undue credit for that. When you look at the series in retrospect and think of Halloween Resurrection or 5 and 6, this movie stands out from the pack noticeably, but I don't really consider that a defense of some of the movie's flaws. And what's unfortunate about the Rachel character in this film is that she's not really a character. She's just kind of jealous, and she's trying to maybe get with this guy, and then it doesn't really work out. And she argues with him a little bit, and she doesn't really want to babysit, but fine, I'll babysit. The argument could definitely be made that there's really not that much to the characters in the original Halloween either, which I'm not denying, but if your characters are going to be weak, and your story is very simple, then the helming of it has to be above average. You want your big three to be strong. Writing, directing, and acting. And if one of them is weaker, you usually try to make the other better to compensate. The direction of this movie is fine. It looks okay. The scare scenes are handled in a competent way, although it continues the trend of the previous in making the kills more gory. In fact, there were reshoots to make the kills more gory. Speaking of those reshoots, there's a scene where Michael Myers has blonde hair. I don't know why, but I'm able to sit back and enjoy watching this movie from time to time for one specific reason, and that's because this is the first Halloween movie that seemed to hint that it could be a little self-aware, and that there's a town militia that bands together to just fucking kill Michael Myers. That's fucking hilarious. That's in this movie, and there's like an explosion scene where Loomis gets thrown through this garbage. Myers shoves a girl through a shotgun barrel, and just the whole notion that the little girl is having nightmare visions about Myers is silly. And the movie seems to, at times, embrace that. Because the movie does show signs that it is self-aware, that it's getting a bit silly at this point, I'm able to enjoy this movie overall, although there's aspects of it that I love to nitpick. The ending of the movie can be a little polarizing for some, because they seem to suggest that Myers has transferred himself to this little girl, or she's become possessed by him, and she goes up and tries to kill somebody, and it's this really shocking ending, and Donald Pleasence has this great scene where he just fucking loses his mind and he thinks he's looking at the devil right in front of him. And it's a bit disturbing, and it's definitely unexpected. I just don't really know if it feels earned, because she has these visions and she seems concerned that Myers is coming for her. But she constantly puts herself in harm's way throughout the movie. She wanders off in the middle of trick-or-treating, so it almost seemed like it was preordained to happen, and she just sort of gave herself over to this fate, which I don't really feel like the quality of the movie, and especially the script, earn that. Speaking of that script, it was written in like 11 days because there was a writer's strike coming up. Now, that's not to say that that means it's automatically bad. You can write a good movie in that period of time. Supposedly, the original Halloween was written in about that period of time, too. It's just that you can tell that it felt very rushed, and things were kind of clobbered together to make this movie at the last second. But even though I said this is a primary defense and I don't really buy into that, this is one of the better Halloween sequels. I don't really think that that means this movie is automatically better just because, but if you're going to watch a Halloween sequel and you've already seen Halloween 2 or 3, I say you could probably watch this one around Halloween and enjoy yourself. And a lot of people do like this movie. And I think it's fine. I think it's watchable. It's certainly not as bad as the rest. I'm going to give Halloween 4 a C+. Guys, thank you so much for watching this year's Halloween special. It really was actually a lot of fun this year, and I had a good time doing it. My wife sends her apologies. Once again, another year has gone by with her having a flu right around Halloween, and she's very sorry she wasn't able to make that video with me. We were planning, but I still had a really good time talking about films with you this Halloween. There's a playlist that's going to be at the end of this video that's going to have all of those reviews, and I hope you guys enjoyed all of them. Thank you so much as always for watching. Look forward to more reviews very soon, and if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.